Welcome to the sixth and final video of the reconciliation training. This one is called Step 6 of the Reconciliation Process Review and Finishing Your Expense Report. Now, like we've done in the past, I'm going to take you through very quickly how we have gotten to Step 6 by going through all of the steps for you. So, let's go to oracle.moody.edu. Let's log in. Like I said, this will be very quick. MBI Internet Expenses, Expenses Home. You should have the hang of it by now. Expenses Home. And now we're at the Expenses homepage. Now, like I said in the last video, we no longer need to create an expense report, even though this is where you would go normally, because I had to close out to make these tutorial videos. So, I have an expense report in progress with my transactions connected to them. And so I'm going to hit update. And this is step one. Like I said, you don't really need to do too much with this, except for alternate approver, which is a rare case. Hit next, and we're on to step two. My transactions are connected by these two check marks here. So we're going to go and hit next. And as you can see, my justification, it needs a detailed description and business purpose. So we have pens and notepads, purchase for Brenda Crump's office, and that would suffice, as well as the expense type, which is what I was told by my supervisor. And so this concludes step 3. We can go to step 4. And this is cash and other expenses. So normally you would not have cash and other expenses unless you purchased a Moody credit card business transaction using a personal credit card or some other form of payment. This is where you would go to fill this out, and accounts payable would write you a reimbursable check. So for this case, we didn't have anything. So let's go to step 5. And like I said, we need to look at fund, cost center, and project ID. Most commonly, you would change cost center if you purchased this item for someone else in another department. But I purchased it for someone within my department, so my cost center would not change. This expense is being allocated to procurement services, and that is correct. And the last two things we need to look at on this page, we need to check to make sure our justification is correct. It has a detailed description and business purpose, as well as our expense type is the correct expense type. So those are both correct. Now let's go on to step 6. Now we are on step 6, the last step where you will do the final review of what we have entered and to add my documentation. This is where I would put my packing slips, my payment confirmation, my purchase requisition, my shipping confirmation, all documentation required by the credit card policy. If I am buying for someone else, I need to show that I had authority from someone else to make the purchase on their behalf. This is also where I would attach comparative bids if applicable. I can attach in one of two areas. Here, at the header level, which is right in the middle of the page, by clicking this Add button, or here on the line level by clicking this green plus sign. Attaching items at the line level allows me to attach documentation to a specific transaction if I had many transactions. Coordinate with your supervisor on where they prefer you attach the documentation. My supervisor prefers that the documentation be attached at the header level, so that's what you will see in this tutorial. But your supervisor may prefer when they review the expense report that it be attached to the line level. So again, ask them for their preference. For audit purposes, it doesn't matter where you attach, just as long as all of the relevant documentation is attached to the report. This step can give cardholders some trouble if they don't have a method on how to scan, name, and organize their electronic files. If you want more information on how to achieve a system, we have a tutorial that may help. When attaching at the header level, your supervisor is able to see all of your documentation in one place, when compared to attaching at the line level when they see it per transaction. Your supervisor may also request that you use a zip file because each time you open your documentation, there's a security feature that they have to respond to. So placing them in a zip file helps them to only answer that security feature once. Attaching documentation is very easy. If you have ever attached something to an email, it is essentially the same thing. For this example, we are going to click this Add button at the header level and attach there. So click the Add button, and you are directed to a screen that looks like this. The only thing you need to concern yourself with on this screen is the Browse button. You do not have to fill in any other information. Click the Browse button and locate all relevant documentation. This is why it's important to know where I put all of my documentation. I need to see where I put all of the receipts and documentation related to Office Depot, the transaction that I had. So let's go into the receipts folder, and I have organized it by vendor. Because I have limited transactions, this is possible. But for someone who has multiple transactions or is frequently using the Moody credit card, I would suggest using vendor and transaction or vendor and date or vendor and product. You need to organize it in some way so you can go back to get this documentation in an efficient and easy way. So let's click on Office Depot. And now you can see my 6 receipts for order request, order confirmation, packing list, all of these things related to those 2 transactions, which are actually one. And so Oracle will only let you attach one at a time. So let's attach this first one, order request. And what you do is you hit add another. And you go through this with all of your documentation until you have all of them attached. Now, once you have attached all of them, like this is my 6th receipt and final, hit apply. Now, we are directed back to the step 6 review page. In order to see all of the documentation that I just attached, click this view button in the middle of the page. And we are directed to where all of my documentation is attached. Now let's see what it looks like when I try to open one. You see what I mean when this security question pops up. If you have it in a zip file, your supervisor only needs to answer this once and all of the documents can be easily opened. That's an example of the zip file. Now, in order to go back to the home page or the review page, click this review button. Another way to look at your documents, or let's say you attached one that you didn't need, you can hit this delete button and delete that attachment at any time. Let's go back to the review page. Once you have reviewed everything and made sure you had all the documentation attached as required by the credit card policy, click the Submit button. You are now on the screen that tells you the expense report was submitted and what the expense report number is that you just submitted. You can also see who the expense report was submitted to for approval. If you wanted to create another expense report, you can click the Create Another Expense Report button, and you will start this process over again for a new report. If you hit Return, you will be brought back to the Expenses homepage. Now, up here, you can see where your expenses that have been submitted are and what the status of that report is. You see the expense report we submitted is now pending manager approval. This concludes our tutorials on how to reconcile transactions for your Moody credit card. It is very straightforward, and once you have your electronic documentation organized, it will just take a few minutes to complete. As always, if you have any questions, check the Moody credit card website FAQ page, or you can call the Procurement Services Department and speak to the credit card administrator for further assistance. Well, that's all. Thanks again, and have a great day.